This is a Gear Network production.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy, Mr. Perez, and you're listening to the Better Live Than Dead podcast, brought to you exclusively on Gear Network. Listen in.
Welcome to the 22nd episode of the Better Live Than Dead podcast.
You got that number correct this time?
I do have it correct.
Good. Nice. Very good.
Before I even get to introduce the guy, he tries to make fun of me.
If it makes you feel any better, John didn't know the number for our podcast.
Well, I went an entire week saying it was the 19th episode. And it was the 20th episode. So I was... And not until I looked back at my notebook and went, I am a dumbass. And did I realize it? But to my right, for aesthetic purposes, Mr. Perez, a co-host.
What's up, peoples?
Across from me, John Cimino, the newly minted executive producer of the Better Live Than Dead podcast.
What's up, peoples?
And to my kind of northwest is Dawn.
Hi.
Making her Better Live Than Dead debut.
From Get Ready America.
From Get Ready America. Sorry.
God damn it, get it right.
A Gear Network personality.
Thank you. Okay. Happy to be here.
I'm glad to have you. It's been a fun day already, and just going to continue with more sports talk, and hopefully have some fun with it without talking about what can be shoved in your ass.
What?
On New Year's Day, Florida State and Oregon take on each other. The third time that Heisman Trophy winners have faced off, and they're playing in the Rose Bowl. I'm going to ask the entire table.
Before you ask the entire... I'm sorry, when you say stuff like... And this is... It almost feels like the All-In podcast at this point now for Better Live Than Dead here. But when you say stuff like shoving stuff up your ass, you realize that opens up just an entire Pandora's box worth of jokes.
Speaking of box...
Right?
Okay.
I have to remember the company that I'm in before I make stupid comments like that.
Before you go any further,
Ladies and gentlemen,
you've gotten real good at this, Perez.
I would just like to say hi to Katy Perry.
That's fine.
Okay.
Hello, Katy Perry.
Hi, Katy Perry.
Can I say hi to someone too?
Sure.
Well, actually, a lot of people. Hi, Canada.
Hi, Canada.
Hello, Canada.
I would just like to say hi to Katy
Dawn.
Perry.
Dawn.
Good talk. Okay,
Exactly.
Go ahead,
I don't
Ryan.
want to say hi to anybody.
Florida State and Jameis Winston take on Marcus Mariota and the Oregon Ducks in the Rose Bowl in the one half of the college football playoffs. I said it earlier, Perez, in our podcast that we're actually going to play. We'll play into this upcoming commercial. We will play a chunk of what happened to the original podcast because
it wasn't pretty.
It was horrible.
It was sucky.
Let me fix your microphone real quick. There you go.
What's wrong with my microphone? Why did you have to touch
The same
my
thing keeps happening that happened before. It's the damn pop filter keeps falling down, so you keep moving back because the pop filter's falling down.
You know, I
here.
asked the Korean audience what they thought about your...
What does the Korean audience think?
멍청한 미국인 스크류. 당신은 바보. 영화를 볼 수 없습니다.
That means very good.
And
I'm
what's the
still
translation?
waiting for one person to laugh about that besides
Well,
John.
I don't know what the translation.
Yes,
if I knew what the translation was, I would laugh.
Yeah.
But
I can't tell you
okay.
that.
But he's not even laughing because of that. He's just laughing because of the voice.
I'm laughing because it pisses her off.
he's laughing on the inside. Well, it
I'm
doesn't make me
laughing
mad. So maybe
if I don't laugh on the inside, I'm crying on the inside, and that's a really bad thing. So
you don't want to be dark and black on the inside.
I just want to laugh.
Rainbows and unicorns, right?
Shut up, Ryan.
It's my goddamn podcast. You respect me, please.
Wow.
John, who do you have? Florida State or Oregon in this game?
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, what?
Florida State or Oregon in the Rose Bowl. You're a guest on the podcast.
I'm
you
a guest
talk
on the
sports And you're not
podcast.
even paying attention.
Listen, you started, listen, goddammit, you started up with the shoving up your ass talk that we did in the previous podcast. My mind is in the gutter, man.
Your mind is always in the gutter, John.
Yes, Oregon.
Okay, and why?
Because I was paying attention,
Okay.
and Oregon
And Perez, please enlighten me.
I'm choosing Oregon. I believe Oregon has a better offense than Florida State does. I don't think Florida State's defense will be ready for the speed with which Oregon plays or the playmakers they have. And quite frankly, I can't stand Jameis Winston.
Me neither.
So I'm picking Oregon to trounce them.
I'm calling my shot right now. That son of a bitch is going to be a Jet. I know.
Absolutely, he'll be
I
a
know
Jet.
it.
He'll be
I
a
know
Jet.
it.
And you want to know why?
Because it's just the way.
Because Charlie Casserly.
Charlie Cass.
The man who makes the worst decisions was hired by the Jets to make decisions, and well, that's just. We'll talk about that later in a football segment because I'm going to insert some Jets talk too because we have you here, so we might as well. Want to make you feel great about yourself tonight, John.
Yeah, it's
We talked about it earlier, Perez. Florida State has not fared well against good competition.
No, I mean, and the sad part is they've won.
Yeah,
like, they're undefeated for
you know.
Well, and as mentioned before, that Jameis Winston has started off slow.
Right.
He's a notorious. This season's been notorious slow starter.
Unless he's stealing stuff from stores.
Yeah, or yelling "f*** her right in the pussy" because he thinks he's hilarious, which is
right.
On TV.
funny,
On
I'm
TV,
sorry.
it's funny. It's funny on TV, but
That's hilarious.
it's just.
I told you my mind's in the gutter.
It's like when you watch. It's like we're talking about moving over to Alabama and Ohio State. At some point in time, you wanted to see a team lose just because you hate them so much.
Alabama.
I hate Alabama.
Yes.
Nick Saban. That's been my attitude for the longest time.
I like Nick Saban.
You would.
I would.
Exactly.
I got Alabama in this game. I think Ohio State should.
Well, I think Alabama's going to win too, but I hope Alabama gets their asses handed to them.
Yeah, Alabama's going to win, but because they're the better team. They're really consistently every year. They are a great team every year, and I say this as still a pissed off Notre Dame fan that
Notre Dame sucks.
They got steamrolled over, but shut up, Lewis. And anyway, yeah,
Notre Dame sucks. Hi, Katy Perry.
Alabama.
Perez might need to be put in a timeout.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Technical foul.
I believe that Alabama is going to beat Ohio
Katy
State.
Perry. Lewis says hi.
That's fair.
Ohio State's just too beat up.
Well,
They've had a rough season. I mean, they finished strong.
Well, they're on their third or fourth quarterback.
Yeah, they're kind of like the Arizona Cardinals of the college world.
That's a good way to put it. I'll move over to the NBA now because
Hooray!
It's just one thing, John.
It's
chill
just
out,
one
chill out. It's a big deal though.
It's a real big deal.
Boston Celtics trade Rajon Rondo to the Dallas
Rajon
Mavericks.
Rondo?
Tomato, goddammit.
Okay, my bad. Okay.
Rajon Rondo
Ray John.
and Dwight Powell to the Mavericks. Brendan Wright, Jay Crowder, Jameer Nelson, and a future first and second round pick to the Celtics. The Celtics now have roughly a $13 million trade exemption. I apologize, and they have 2 picks in the first round of the 2015 draft. The first round pick they acquired in this trade likely to be a 2016 first round pick due to the pick protection in the deal. I didn't get the breakdown exactly, but if it's in a certain spot this year, it can't be used. If it's in a certain spot that year, it can't be used. So they said likely 2016. Now, Perez, the question I have for you is, what does Rajon Rondo going to the Mavericks do to the power balance in the Western Conference?
Honestly, to the power balance, I don't really think it does much. The Mavs are a pretty decent team, and they needed a good point guard. So I believe it'll make the Mavs a better team, and I think that it will definitely help their prospects in the West. But I don't really think it shifts any type of power balance.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you there. The Mavericks consistently have been a solid team each year, built around Dirk Nowitzki.
Exactly.
But, Tyson Chandler on there as well. He's still pretty good despite his age, and they've always been there.
Right.
Always been there.
Right.
And in a division that does not have the Lakers playing very well at all.
No.
So,
But they don't need the Lakers to play well right now. I mean, you got Golden State,
right.
who's just on fire right now.
Yes.
Steve Kerr clearly made the right decision on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got the Clippers, who are playing extremely good ball.
Mm-hmm.
You got OKC.
Yeah.
And
you can't sleep on as much as I can't stand them. You can't sleep on the Spurs either.
Oh,
yeah.
We're going to look back on the Spurs. I mean, I'm not a big basketball guy, but we're going to look back on the Spurs in 15, 20 years and say they were one of the best dynasties. And it's not so much that they've won 5 titles in 7 years or something like that. It's the fact that they were the span of titles and the span of greatness that they had is just it's phenomenal.
And the sad thing is that Greg Popovich will still be coaching by then.
And he'll still refuse to answer questions.
Exactly.
He'll still bust balls in the interviews and try to create problems with the reporters because that's what Greg Popovich does. But
you got Portland right now. They're 24-7.
They're good.
Playing good ball. You got New Orleans, which they're in the lower half, but the top 8 teams right now, and Dallas is in the middle. Like they're number 5. So they got a good record.
I think to your point, Lewis, the trade helps. It helps them, but I don't think that whether or not they made the trade, I don't think it would be much of a difference. I think they would still be contending. They would still be up there.
It's obviously an upgrade for the Dallas Mavericks, but I think it's more of a long-term move than it is a short-term move because Rajon Rondo said that he doesn't want to be traded anywhere. He doesn't want to sign long-term. And obviously he got traded to Dallas, so there's a possibility that he could end up signing long-term in Dallas. And if they can build a team around Nowitzki and Rondo, they could certainly have something nice out there in Dallas for at least a few couple of years. But at this point, the Eastern Conference is a joke. You've got it, and the Western Conference is loaded up, so you've got to keep loading up and loading up.
And it's funny because you look at the NBA preseason, and everything was about LeBron returning to Cleveland and getting Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving and having the new big three there, and then Chris Bosh re-signing with the Heat and Dwayne Wade staying there, and it's going to be between these two, and then Phil Jackson's here in New York, and he's hired Derek Fisher, and they're going to go to the Phil Jackson triangle offense, and it's just not what the mothership of ESPN has built it up to be.
Yeah, but I mean, you say the Eastern Conference is a joke, but their top 4 teams are actually playing really good ball.
But put them against the Western. What I'm saying is that the Eastern Conference may have really good teams, but in terms of being really good, the best team in the Eastern Conference may be 3rd, 4th, or 5th in the Western Conference if they were combined. Like if you had the Cavaliers always playing against the Western Conference, how good would they be?
Not that good.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it's the Cavaliers. Let's be honest with you. Cleveland is really not that good. I mean, sure, LeBron makes them better, but LeBron's not the end-all, be-all.
Well, let's just not talk about LeBron. You fine with that?
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
All right, let's talk baseball now, real quick. Tampa Bay Rays were last week denied the ability to look for a stadium outside of St. Petersburg. The team offered the idea of a sliding scale that would equal about $32 million total from the time they moved until 2027. The owner previously stated that if they were not able to find a new stadium, he would likely sell the team, which would open the door for them to move. And obviously, this could be the beginning of the end of baseball in Tampa, as we know, which a lot of people have already said that vote being denied kind of is the beginning of the end, because St. Petersburg's not a good place for baseball.
It is not. It isn't.
If I'm not mistaken, President, I discussed this before, but Tropicana Field is on like a peninsula. Within the area, it's on a peninsula, which is just a bad spot for a stadium, and the stadium's garbage. And we all know, and the reason I wanted to talk to you about this, talk with John here, is that you're a strong proponent of the Montreal Expos returning to the American League East.
I am.
And this could be the start of that.
You know what? And I'm a Yankees fan. We know this. You're a Red Sox fan.
Yep.
You're a President Yankees fan. Dawn, who is conspicuous by her absence right now. She's a Yankees fan as well. But I will say this: I have a soft spot for the Montreal Expos. I do think that they got hosed in the deal, but I think that they learned their lesson. The Montreal fan base did, as far as what MLB can giveth, MLB can taketh away.
Exactly.
And what happened is what you're seeing in Washington could have easily been Montreal had Montreal supported.
Yep.
Had Montreal supported them, and they had a great logo.
Yeah.
They had a great vibe during their good years. They had Yopi, the mascot,
and they should have won the World Series back in the strike-shortened year.
1994. They should have won the World Series, which had a staff of Pedro Martinez was on that team, Vladimir Guerrero was on that team. I mean, that was a who's who of people that eventually became big stars and big champions or whatever. But that team, it should have been Montreal and New York.
And the one thing about it is that. And it doesn't sound like a big deal on paper because you're going to say it's not that big of a deal. But in the grand scheme of things, it's a huge deal. Really they need a stadium. That's it. Mm-hmm. They can't play at Olympic Stadium anymore because it's turf on concrete.
Olympic Stadium's junk.
Ask Andre Dawson how that works out. It doesn't work out very well.
Not good at all. But yes, if the Expos come back, I will be happy. Not only for the city of Montreal, but for baseball, because the Expos I love the Expos.
It's a good piece of nostalgia, and it would be nice to have it back.
I loved them when they were in the National League. I mean, if they were in the AL East, then that would be something completely different.
I would grow to hate them, but it would be fun. It almost would be fun to hate the Expos.
It's not like a hate, like a New York Boston hatred. Although now at this point, it's not even really a hatred anymore because
right now I've got Tampa at 1A and New York at 1B.
Yeah, I wouldn't look at Montreal the same way that I look at Toronto. It's kind of like a nuisance in April and May, and then it's kind of by the end of the season, it's like,
exactly.
They're close by. Montreal isn't really close by, but I'd feel the same way about them.
Well, most people in Montreal are assholes.
I'd be cool.
I love you, Canada. I love you, Canada. But working at a hotel, I've seen some Montreal people come in and fake that they can't speak English, and they walk away from the desk and speak perfect English and talk shit about me in French. So I've got
Send us some Cuba cigars.
Exactly. But when we come back from these commercial breaks, we're going to talk National Football League. We got a lot of football to talk about this week. A fun story out of Cleveland. Going to talk some Cowboys, some Bills, some Jets, and then we're going to discuss a potential expanded playoff format that Perez and I discussed a little last week. So stick around for more. You're not going to want to miss it here on the Better Live Than Dead podcast.
While you're listening to this podcast, make sure you follow us on social media. You can follow me at WolfSHC on Twitter. You can also follow Mr. Perez at MRLG Perez. Make sure to like the podcast on Facebook. That's facebook.com/BLTD podcast. And make sure to follow Gear Network on Twitter at GERE Network.
This free and independent sportscast is made possible when you shop the Gear Network store through Amazon. Visit GearNetwork.com and click on the Amazon banner to shop through Amazon's thousands of products at great prices delivered right to your front door. Again, that's GearNetwork.com and click the Amazon banner at the top.
Back here on the Better Live Than Dead podcast, joined by...
Hello. You know what? Hey, before you go... there was one MLB story we didn't touch up on.
What's
and
that?
Perez, I can't believe you being a Yankees fan yourself, you didn't even pick up on this. Hiroki Kuroda's going back to Japan.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I spoke to him.
I
spoke to Hiroki Kuroda.
Oh, boy. Here we
and
go.
I asked him, why are you going back to Japan?
This is why John got quiet during the commercial break.
This is what he said.
내가 빌어먹을 굉장해요 때문에 일본에 돌아갑니다. 당신이 뉴욕 시발
He has a very effeminate voice.
빌어먹을
Someone stepped on his sack or something.
Something.
What does that mean?
That means I go back to Japan because I'm fucking awesome. Fuck you, New York. Fuck you, Los Angeles. Fuck you, MLB.
Fair
He's
enough.
really bitter. I don't know why.
Fair enough.
Why are you so bitter, Hiroki Kuroda? You know what? I'm going to text my boy, Hiroki, and I'm going to ask him why he's so bitter. But anyways,
while you ask him why he's bitter, we'll talk some football. The Cleveland Browns, their quarterback position has just become a tire fire. Well, it has been a tire fire. Brian Hoyer, ineffective. They pull him.
Yes.
Johnny Manziel comes in.
The savior!
Yeah, and he lowers his shoulder into a 250-pound linebacker and gets destroyed. Hurts his hamstring on the injured reserve, which he only misses a game, but it's just a procedural move. He's out.
Hiroki, what do you think about Johnny Manziel?
你他妈的混蛋
Bless you.
You're not in college anymore, boy. You're playing with men.
But
You're not a man yet.
Then Brian Hoyer came back in and hurt his shoulder. So now tomorrow, or Sunday, I should say, they're going to start Connor Shaw, which, if I'm not mistaken, is rookie from South Carolina, off the practice squad. Now, with that being said, they needed to sign someone to be their backup quarterback, just to hold the clipboard in case something was to happen. They'd have someone to bring in. So they called up ex-Cleveland Browns quarterback Rex Grossman.
Sexy Rexy!
The president of the F*** It, I'm Going Deep fan club, Rex Grossman. They said, hey, Rex, do you want to come back to Cleveland for the week? You don't really got to do much. Just hold the clipboard. You get a jersey, all that stuff. We'll give you $53,000, the 1 week pay.
And Rex was like,
He said no.
I got family in town.
He's down in Palm Beach kite surfing. That was the report.
he's kite
told,
surfing. He wanted a kite surf.
How bad is it when Rex Grossman tells you no?
Like, I've made my money in the NFL. I don't really need to play for one game for you guys.
The best thing Rex Grossman ever did was losing the Super Bowl to Peyton Manning because
it's Christmas.
The defense was good. The defense was great at that point in time. Rex Grossman was serviceable, but the best thing that'll ever happen is like I said.
Did you just say you want to service Rex Grossman?
The I'm Going Deep fan club.
That's what I heard.
That's what I heard.
Well, he was the one that broke the story in the All In podcast about shoving shit up your beehole.
That's true.
And stuff like that. So
that's true.
You guys are disgusting.
Shut up, Ryan.
This is my goddamn podcast, okay?
You're in my goddamn studio. You're not in Fortunato Studios.
No, the Wolf Den studio.
Oh, okay. Oh, we renamed it now.
Well, that's because it's my room.
That's right.
It's where it's all my
Tony.
All my expensive stuff is.
Yeah, Tony. Although I will give you props. That story time with Mr. President is hysterical.
It was. It's very, very good, very good. I must say, but You're making me lose my train of thought. Like I'm trying to think of something.
That's what I'm good at.
Just crushing it.
We're just making fun of the Cleveland Browns.
Carry on.
Moving on now to
And then being denied by Rex Rosman.
We're gonna make this a little more personal this week.
I got a fart.
We're gonna talk about the Cowboys, the Jets, and the Bills. First off,
Jesus
the Cowboys.
Christ.
Dallas Cowboys. How about them Cowboys?
They clinched the NFC East with a 42-7 absolute destruction of the Indianapolis Colts.
I thought it was 17. I thought they scored 17.
If they did score 17, I'm
I
sorry.
think so. That's right.
I put 7 down. I just looked quick.
It's all good.
It's the first NFC title and the playoff spot, or first playoff spot in NFC East crown since 2009.
Yes.
The first thing I want to ask you, Perez, is this team for real? And John too, is this team for real?
I don't think you can deny that they're for real. I believe that John is going to sit over there and play with his cell phone making fart noises while I'm trying to explain why I believe the Cowboys are for real.
Oh my.
We're just reminiscing.
But he won't do that when we're talking about the Jets. Because it's his team.
Yeah, no.
Even though that's the
Jets,
crappiest team basically in the NFL.
Here we go. Okay, hold on. Hey, John, what do you think about Geno? Oh, it's powering off now. So,
yeah, your phone was like, I'm tired of this.
It was a fart.
Can I borrow your phone?
A complete fart meltdown on John's phone.
Damn meltdown.
As I was saying, Perez, let's get back to business here.
I believe the Cowboys are for real. I believe they will advance into the playoffs.
Sorry to interrupt you, but the one question on my mind that's really burning in the back of my brain is, can the Cowboys now beat a team they already beat, the Seattle Seahawks, now that the Seahawks are greatly improved?
No.
Yes.
They cannot.
I believe they can.
They cannot. You know what? I will give the devil their due. I will give Dallas their due. They are a heck of a football team.
Absolutely. Well, I remember
a
couple, or not even a couple weeks ago, earlier in the season, when Perez and I were talking, and we both picked the Seahawks over the Cowboys, and we flat out said, if the Cowboys were a team to beat, if they were a playoff team, if they were a strong team in the NFL this season, they would beat the Seahawks, and we didn't think they would. And we were both greatly surprised, and they've backed it up. I mean, they've been good enough. And they've shown that they can win the games they need to win.
The only reason why I say this right now is because very similar to the Peyton Manning syndrome at the Super Bowl. Okay? Peyton Manning dominates until he gets to the Super Bowl, and then he fizzles out. Unless he's playing Rex Grossman.
Exactly.
But Tony Romo is unproven in the playoffs. He absolutely he's historically fizzled out in December.
How many playoff games has Romo played in? I didn't look this up.
I think like two.
And I know the one was against the Seahawks where he fumbled the snap.
Yes.
Yeah.
Historically, he's correct.
Okay.
Historically, Tony Romo has fizzled out in the month of December.
But historically, Tony Romo hasn't had DeMarco Murray those other seasons.
Right.
And a good offensive line.
Right.
And that much I agree. So that much I think they'll make it a game.
But they're now 3-0 in the month of December.
Yeah.
Showing that they have greatly improved their squad.
That means nothing in the grand scheme of things. Once you go into the postseason,
they'll beat them. I do believe they'll beat them.
Of course you will. You're a Cowboys fan.
Listen. Then the question:
why wouldn't you? If the Jets hit 4 wins, and let's just say the Jets were in the NFC South, and their 4 wins qualified them for being
still suck.
They're 4. Yes, but I digress. Their 4 wins qualified them for the NFC South championship game, and they won, and they made the playoffs. I would pick the Jets because they are my team.
Playoffs?
Okay.
No, you wouldn't.
Shut up, Lewis.
Not in that circumstance.
The Cowboys, until Tony Romo can prove that he can win a playoff game. And yes, he's got DeMarco Murray on him. He's got a running game. The offensive line is solid. The defense is holding their own. Okay? He's got a team around him this time, so there should be no excuse. If Romo goes to Seattle, that was my dog. If it's picked it up, by the way. That wasn't a fart app. That was my dog. But if Romo goes to Seattle and fizzles out and loses, I'm not going to be surprised by it. I think that Seattle's better positioned now than they were when they played them in the regular season.
Like the saying always, the cliche always goes, Seattle has got hot at the right time.
Exactly.
I think everyone's on the Green Bay bandwagon saying the Packers are bound for Arizona for the Super Bowl. But, I feel like Green Bay got too hot too quick. And I mean, they're a good football team, so it might not even matter for them.
Hold on. Do you hear that? Okay, go ahead.
Okay. We're back apparently with the asses of fire are back on the podcast. But I think Arizona. When you look at a team getting too hot too quick, I mean Arizona's been good all year. With
I've never known
their quarterbacks.
anyone like. Listen, I'm pretty juvenile,
yeah,
and farts amuse me. But I've never known anyone to laugh every single solitary time they've heard a fart like this dude over here.
You know what's even funnier is if it was a Chinese guy that farted. That would be it for me. I'd be done. And then they end it after the fart, they go, "Whoa!" You know, like in their funny way, like that.
Oh my god!
I'm not racist. I'm really not.
Like Perez, we may not be back next week.
Yeah, well,
we may not be back next week.
We may be getting sued by like Asian.
I didn't name anybody.
Groups.
I didn't name anybody.
I'm just saying.
Hi, Canada.
Exactly. Hello, Canada. And
all right,
anybody who's listening, we're sorry. We're very sorry.
I'm not really sorry.
We're sorry about the Asian stuff, you know, because John is going a little.
I don't care. I like Asian food.
Asian food is awesome.
It is good. It is very good.
I like Asian females.
Me too.
Listen, Black Friday Bundaroo. God bless you, South Park. You ruined me.
Nice.
Back to football.
Okay.
I think the game will be a good game. I think it'll be a tight game. I don't think Seattle's defense will be.
Well, we're not even saying it's a game yet. I'm just saying, can the Cowboys, if they meet in the NFC Championship game,
if they meet, I believe the Cowboys will advance to the Super Bowl.
Is it a thing where if they play in Seattle in the playoffs, or would it have to? If they play in Seattle, is it a done deal that they're going to lose? Because I think if they play in Dallas, it's anyone's game. But if they play in Seattle, I think if Seattle gets the 1 seed.
It's very difficult to beat Seattle in Seattle.
If the NFC Championship game is in Seattle, it would be, I think, almost impossible to beat Seattle in Seattle.
I agree with you.
With a trip to the Super Bowl. Same with the AFC, where I keep saying, I kept saying to everybody that would listen, if the AFC Championship game goes through Denver, the Broncos are in the Super Bowl. If it goes through New England's in the Super Bowl.
Now let me ask you this.
Okay.
Hypothetical situation here. Let's just say Denver and Dallas are in the Super Bowl. With each of the two quarterbacks' historic meltdowns in postseason play, who you got?
I think Dallas.
You think Dallas?
Absolutely.
I know who you have.
I just the one thing that scared me about Peyton Manning is it's not the fact that he's playing crappy, it's the fact of why he's playing crappy. It's his diminished velocity and diminished accuracy, which has really scared me off. And it's something ESPN, ESPN doesn't do much that's good, but this was something they did that was phenomenal. They would show, okay, Peyton threw to a box in the center of the field and hit the guy perfectly week 4. Mm-hmm. Week 14, he's throwing in front of the guy, short at his feet, bouncing balls, throwing him far, wide.
You think he's hurt?
I think he's
I don't think he's necessarily hurt.
With Peyton Manning, I think he's got bullets in the chamber, and I think they're shooting off too many bullets in the chamber, because you could tell early in the season they were throwing, 40-50 pass plays a game. Now they're doing, a 50-50 split, maybe more rushes than passes.
Well, I believe as the weather gets colder in Colorado, because of the nerve damage he's had in his neck, it's becoming harder for him to grip the ball, which is why I think you're seeing less spirals and more lame duck type of throws. It's also why you're not seeing much passes beyond 20 yards.
But it hasn't been. To your point, the same thing happened around this time last season too, as far as being in the playoffs, where it went through Denver.
Yeah.
But yes, he was throwing quite a bit of lame duck passes.
But it hasn't been that cold in Denver this year. But I see what you're saying in terms of that. But I more or less think that they relied almost too much on Peyton Manning this season, and that's going to end up being their downfall. I mean, last week we saw Peyton Manning throw 4 picks, and they were interceptions that you don't see Peyton Manning throw, and he threw them with ease.
Yeah, but it was a colder game, and if you look at those passes, they were not crisp, they were not on target. They were not good passes. And quite frankly, if you look at Peyton Manning's career, if you put him in the regular season, he's pretty much unstoppable in the regular season. Yeah. Once you get to the playoffs, once you get to the Super Bowl, that's where you really see him struggle. Let's be honest, in the Super Bowl that he won,
he played against Rex Grossman in a rainstorm.
Yes, but he also threw 3 interceptions that game. Yep. And most of their yardage was done on the ground. They had a better front line and a better running game at that time. And that's really why he got his ring. If you look at the NCAA championship that he won, same thing. They won it on the ground, because in that game, I think he threw 4 interceptions.
I think, well, here's the deal.
You put him in a big game, and he struggles, period.
Long story short, I think it's more like this. If Peyton Manning in the regular season is like an 11, Like, you turn him up to 10, he's an 11. He's always better than the competition.
I agree.
But then when you get to the playoffs, they always say the guys turn it up an extra notch. You see guys like Tom Brady, who's great during the regular season, and then he turns it up, and he's even better in the postseason. He turns it up to a 13 or 14 for.
Man, he doesn't have that switch.
If we're trying to put a number on it, where Peyton just always seems like he's the same guy from week one until they're eliminated from the playoffs.
I agree. I would take his brother before I would take him.
No,
in the playoffs. His brother's got 2 rings.
That's in.
His brother has 2 rings, or the Giants have 2 rings.
The New York
His
Giants.
brother has played better in the playoffs than he has.
It doesn't, Perez. The New York Giant defense won 2
I agree
rings.
with you, but his brother in the playoffs, his brother has been a better quarterback.
The New York, to your point, the New York Giants defense won them 2 rings.
Yep.
But in the public's eyes, David Tyree in the catch.
Yeah, well, and Eli. The thing about Eli is that to not get off on a super long tangent here, but long story short, to your credit, Perez, Eli made the throws when he had to make them. Peyton does not seem to do that.
Well, he can't right now.
Well, not just that he can't, but he just doesn't. Even when he could, he doesn't seem to do it.
He says he wants to play one more season. I don't really know if that's a good idea for him.
I don't even know if it'll be possible, but I want to move to the Bills now, real quick. I don't have much to say about the Bills. I want to throw in a foul horn here because
don't throw in a foul horn.
No, because here's the deal, John. Let me explain really quick. The Bills should have beat the Oakland Raiders. The Bills should be going into Week 17. They should go into Week 17 with an outside chance of making the playoffs. Now, obviously, with Kansas City losing Alex Smith, Cincinnati beating Denver, it diminishes the possibility of the Bills making the playoffs. By the time the week's over, they could have won the last 2 games and had virtually absolutely no shot mathematically at making the playoffs. But the fact is, they didn't beat the Raiders. It's embarrassing. I mean, they are a good enough team to win 9 or 10 games. And I
said a few weeks ago, the Bills had to win 3 out of the 5 tough matches because they would have had a gimme with the New York Jets, which I was right about, and they had a gimme with the Oakland Raiders, which baffled me.
And they almost beat them, but they didn't play good enough.
But you absolutely cannot write, if you're a Bills fan, you cannot write this season off as any sort of failure. What? So what? You didn't make the playoffs this year. You got closer than you have in the past 5, 6, 7 years.
And that's and Perez. Before you mention your point, I just want to throw this out there. The reason I brought this up was because I saw this little stat. The Bills' 15-year playoff drought is the 10th longest in NFL history. The longest playoff drought since the St. Louis Phoenix Arizona Cardinals went from 1983 to 1997 without making the playoffs. So they're getting up there. This is becoming an historical thing with the Buffalo Bills. They're not just bad; they're historically bad.
I don't think that. I think honestly, they have the nucleus for something.
Yeah.
For being a playoff contender. I don't know about a Super Bowl contender because as long as you have Tom Brady playing in the same division,
just get to the playoffs first.
Right, exactly. But as long as you have Tom Brady in the same division, it's going to be tough. The Bills, I can honestly say, are a franchise quarterback away.
I think so.
From being a playoff.
I think they are
the pieces in place. Their offensive line is better. Their defense is amazing.
I think the Bills are not a necessary franchise quarterback because it's going to be hard to find, but a better than Kyle Orton quarterback. Kyle Orton's average, we'll say. So a better than average quarterback, an upgraded offensive line, and a decent tight end.
Let me ask you something. If Kyle Orton didn't take over the team, if EJ started the entire season, do you think they would be where they are?
They would win 3 or 4 games.
Okay, so right there, Kyle Orton was a better option than what they had before.
Yeah, but they need we've learned that Kyle Orton is a better answer to the question, but the answer can be better than Kyle Orton, and that's unfortunately, that's sometimes what you have to do, is you have to put a guy in, like, the reason that Kyle Orton played, long story short, in my belief, is that because the Bills traded that first-round pick to the Browns, and if that was anything higher than 15, it was an abstract failure. It doesn't matter if you got Sammy Watkins. If you give up a 4 an 8 and a 10, or an 8 or in a really high pick, heads are going to roll in that front office, and they still might. I mean, because it's the first offseason with new owner Terry Pegula. There's rumblings out of
Terry and Kim
Pegula. Yes,
yeah, exactly.
They
make sure to put that in every single press.
Well,
release.
same thing with the Sabres too. They both are very involved in the operations of the teams. But there's talk that that I don't think Doug Whaley should go. By the way, your daughter's adorable.
Thank you. She's the M in GM Radio Entertainment.
She's smiling and laughing as we're sitting here talking. I don't think Doug Whaley should go. Doug Whaley may go. Doug Marrone may go. They need a better offensive coordinator, I think. But then again, they might need to upgrade the offense alone itself. But they've got a blueprint. They're getting better. It's the first time in I want to say like 10 years that they've won. That they have the chance to win 9 games. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're over 500 for the first time in a long time. It's a good feeling. Mm-hmm. But it's like that. It's like if you said to me before the season the Bills are going to finish 8-8, and I said that's awesome. I'll take it every day. When you start getting to that point where the Bills could win 9, 10, 11 games maybe, or they should have won 9, 10, or 11 games, and you go, I want more. That's where I'm at right now. I'm being greedy. I'm being selfish, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
I believe it was in week 3 we were talking about the Bills, and we were talking about all the all the Buffalo Bills fans who were like, it's our year, this is yay, rah, rah, because they had started 2-0, started 3-0, and I said, the Bills do this every year. Yeah. And then they do crash.
Yes.
I was like, I don't really see this being any different, and it hasn't been any different.
Well, no, it has been different in the sense that they're not finishing 4-12 or 5-11 or whatever. They're finishing at worst 8-8.
Yeah, but I still think same old.
And result, yes, is the same.
In moral victories, there's no such thing as a moral victory.
It'll be interesting to see if they can develop EJ Manuel more to see what happens with him.
I think he's done.
I don't think Manuel. And the one thing a lot of people point out on Twitter, I mean, I thought about it was that Kyle Orton gives you the best chance to win, so you play Kyle Orton. But a lot of people pointed out on Twitter this week, a lot of people that I follow, and it was a good point. If EJ Manuel isn't starting a pointless Week 17 game to see what he can do against the New England Patriots, what are you doing? I mean, I understand they're red.
What is that saying?
They're essentially redshirting him this season, but they've almost come to terms with the fact that was a failure. That was a bad pick, and it is what it is.
Right, and I agree. And to your point, and we should probably, since I'm the executive producer here, we'll cut to a commercial break.
We are because
after this, but to that point right there in particular with EJ Manuel. The New York Jets started Geno Smith again.
Yeah.
After 2 weeks of Michael Vick, they went back to starting Geno Smith. They already knew this season was in the toilet.
Yeah.
Figure out to see what they have. That's why I believe Geno's not going to be the starter next year. He may not even be a Jet next year, but if the Buffalo is not even starting EJ Manuel in a garbage time game, he's done.
I do think so. That was a good talk. Very good talk. When we come back from these commercial breaks, we are going to discuss some of the NFL playoff talk that we piggybacked off of. We're going to piggyback off the talk last week with some more stats and facts. I know Perez just loves it when I sit here and throw around stats and facts to try to back up my argument, but it'll be a good talk. So stick around for more of the Better Live Than Dead podcast right after these messages.
Hey, gang, the first round of your fantasy playoffs are over, and if you're like me, you had Peyton Manning, and he screwed you, and your brother-in-law beat you, and now you're in a consolation round, and you don't really care. Well, I'll give you something that you can care about, and that is GearNetwork.com's partnership with FanDuel. Visit GearNetwork.com/FanDuel, or click on the link on the top of the page, and scroll down and select FanDuel, and access it through there. You could be entered into 1-week fantasy football leagues. There's still a regular season going on, so go on and get in on that money, honey, because if you're like me, you lost some money in your regular standard league, which sucks. But what doesn't suck is the opportunity to win cash money every week. And fast, too. They don't screw you like PayPal and eBay do. Again, GearNetwork.com/FanDuel. Do it. John Cimino here, a.k.a. JC Money, inviting you all of you listeners, to join us on the Gear Radio Network once a week for Get Ready America, where JC and DC, the executive producer, my co-host Don Cimino, will be talking news, sports, whatever comes to our mind. It's a variety show that goes all over the place. It's awesome. You should check it out on Gear Network every week.
Some time to think, figure out what's important to you. Stop, take some time to think, figure out what's important to you. Stop, take some time to think. Figure out what's important to you. Gotta make a serious decision.
Here on the Better Live Than Dead podcast, we are back for the final segment.
Listen in.
Myself, John, Perez,
What's up?
and Dawn, here and there. Now, last week we talked about Perez kind of ambushed me, which I'm glad you did, Perez, because it got me thinking about the playoffs and about how
Playoffs.
how the playoffs need some restructuring. And I after listening back to it and taking some notes and doing some research, I do agree with you to a point. Now, first off, my big point last week to you, Perez, was that teams that miss the playoffs should win the games that they're supposed to win to make the playoffs. Like if you play a bad team, or if you're playing a contender, like if you're playing a team that if you beat them you make the playoffs, you should win that game if you're a good enough team to make the playoffs. And while I did find some in my research, there have been a handful of bad teams to make the playoffs and good teams that have missed the playoffs in the same year. There's always a good explanation to that. Always a good explanation. And I see the dumb faces you're making. Don't think I don't see those. In 2010, the 7-9 Seattle Seahawks, the first team in NFL history with a sub-500 record to make the playoffs. They were 1-1 against the St. Louis Rams, who were also 7-9. But in their division, they had a better record than the St. Louis Rams did, so therefore they win the division. Mm-hmm. But the 10-6 Giants and Buccaneers missed out. Now, the two wild card teams, 11-5 Saints. Mm-hmm. They had the best record of all the wild card teams, so they're in.
Yep, and the Seahawks got a home game.
But we're not there yet. We'll talk about that. Hold that thought for the second part of this conversation, please. Please.
Okay.
10-6 Green Bay Packers made the playoffs over the Giants because they beat the Giants in the regular season, and they had a better division record than the Buccaneers. So again, if the Buccaneers are better in their division, the Buccaneers have been in the playoffs. In 2011, the 8-8 Denver Broncos in the West, they won the West. They were in, but the 9-7 Tennessee Titans were out. Tennessee had a regular season loss to Cincinnati, which was the second wild card team. Again, win the games you're supposed to win, and you'll be in the playoffs.
Which I get that argument. Win the games you're supposed to win.
But this is what I'm telling you.
And I'll tell you why that argument is not really valid when you're done.
You can tell me now. I'm listening.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Keep going.
Finish up, Ryan.
Keep going, Ryan.
You're gonna make me waste my time, Perez.
No, I'm not. Just keep going.
10-6 wild card Minnesota Vikings are in. 10-6 Bears are out because the Bears had a worse division record than the Vikings. 2013, the 8-7-1 Packers, the NFC North were in. The 10-6 Cardinals were out, but the Cardinals were 0-3 combined to the two wild card teams. So again, you don't win the games, you're not in the playoffs. And obviously this year, we don't have the final records, but we do know for the second time in National Football League history that a 7-win team and a sub-500 team will make the playoffs. Now, like I said last week, I wholeheartedly agree with you on the elimination of a home playoff game for division winners. You have to earn the playoff game that you get, which will go into the expansion talk that I have shortly. But I want to hear what you have to say first.
No, keep going.
No, I want to hear what you have to say about the win the games you're supposed to win. That argument.
Well,
I'm going to play moderator. Your
I want
turn,
to check
Perez.
these off.
You can say you got to win the games you're supposed to win.
Yes.
Okay, but in this particular instance, with this season in the NFC, you're going to have a team that's below 500 making the playoffs, and you're going to have several teams above 500 not making the playoffs. My point is that's wrong. That should not happen. And this team that's going to be below 500 is going to get a home game.
And they may actually even win it because looking at it right now, I don't think Seattle's going to lose this week. And if Seattle wins, Seattle gets the higher seed, Arizona gets the lower seed. I do believe, which would mean Arizona would travel to either Atlanta or Carolina, and we know Arizona has their fourth-string quarterback starting right now. Drew Stanton may be back, but he's still their second-string quarterback.
And that's, to me, absolutely bloody ridiculous.
So let me ask this: what would you say then? Because what could essentially eliminate that particular scenario would be something that nobody likes, which is if the NFL were to implement BCS-style rankings. You wouldn't have anybody.
Or essentially what Perez wants to do in a nutshell is eliminate the...
to me sounds like he would be okay with.
What he said last week was eliminate the divisions and just rank by AFC, NFC 1 to 6. And the 6 best teams get in no matter what.
No, you can have your divisions, and if you win your division, good for you. If you're below 500, you don't get a playoff spot.
I think that's a very, very slippery slope.
That defeats defeats the purpose of having divisions.
I don't think it does at all.
I think no matter what, because obviously in 2010 the Seattle Seahawks, we know this full well. It was the start of the Seahawks run to the top, if you will. They barely made the playoffs at 7-9,
and they beat the Saints.
At
home.
They lost the next
which
game.
shows you can't discount a home game.
Well, yeah, we all know now. I mean, back then we didn't really know because it was the crappy Seahawks, but they had the infamous Beast Quake play where Marshawn Lynch helped create an earthquake with the fans at the stadium.
Yes.
So yeah, I agree with you on that one. Like I tell you what, I'm beyond 100% in on the idea of eliminating a guaranteed home game.
Right.
And this goes into the talk that I wanted to discuss with you after I was able to do some research.
Okay.
What would you think of expanding the playoffs to 7 teams per conference? The only guaranteed bye week would be the 1 seed. So you would essentially add one more game. So you'd have, I think they said, I have it written down here, the discussion was they would play 2 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, and 1 on Monday. That would be the talk. So you'd have playoff football all weekend. You have an extra game, more money, more ratings, but also more competition. And the thing about it is, first off, I want to ask you, what do you think of a 7-team playoff for each conference?
I'd be okay with that. I don't really think that, that would change things considerably. I mean, it would, but not to the point where, I'm more interested in only the first person getting the home game.
Well, and I think that will come in due time because
I think that'd be shitty.
7 teams?
7 teams. I think it'd be shitty. I don't think the NFL would go for it because you're losing additional revenue from that extra team being in the playoffs.
Well, I think
you're making additional revenue.
I've got some.
How do you figure?
Because anytime you have a team playing another game, you're going to make money on that team.
You get to sell the extra playoff game.
You
get the extra revenue from the stadium.
Extra revenue from advertising.
Well, here's the deal: the NFLPA is open to expansion. The players' playoff bonuses would be larger, so they would be more hop to that. The NFLPA president Eric Winston has said the players want, if they had to choose, gun to the head, they would want another playoff game over an 18-game season. So I think everything would stay the same. You might lose one preseason game, but everything virtually would stay the same. Mm-hmm. It's just you would like Perez was saying. You don't want that. They don't want the outside team looking in. So if you add an extra team, you'll get that team that may have been on the outside looking in for a terrible reason. Like, say, for instance, with the Eagles this season. For most of the season, the Eagles were a playoff team. Nick Foles gets hurt. Mark Sanchez comes back to earth after being scorching white hot. There could be an argument. Someone could sway me in an argument saying that the Eagles do deserve a playoff spot. I mean, you should have if you want to make the playoffs, beat the Cowboys. But
they deserve a playoff spot over the Panthers.
Spot. Well, I don't necessarily agree with you on that one. But
I will say this: I think having even teams in each conference, having the 2 playoff byes gives the competition during the regular season, because otherwise the regular season is boring.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and that's the thing too, is that, sorry to interrupt you, but the thing about the extra wild card team is it could increase week 14, 15, 16, and 17 and make it worth it, which then again, people watching, more eyes in the game increases revenue, NFL makes more money, they get stupid or rich.
It could, yes, but then let's just say, hypothetically speaking, you have a New England Patriots that have been dominant for 15 years. And they're locking up the 1 seed every single time, and the conference goes directly through them every single time. I mean, it's boring. People are not going to like that. I think that the divisions, if they're going to keep the divisions, you're right. To a team with a less than 500 record,
I don't even think,
or a lesser record than a wild card team. By their right, by winning the division, they should have the right to play in the playoffs.
Yes.
Because that's their division.
You're the best player
in the best team in their division.
In your league, if you will.
But the home game should be, at that point, record based.
I don't even think, I'm not even saying an 800 or an 800 team, an 8-8 team. I'm not saying that if they win the division they get a guarantee. I'm saying any team, the home game should be based on your record. I'm not. If you win the division, you're in the playoffs. Cool, fine, you're in, but you're not guaranteed anything. You're guaranteed another game. That's it. Win the game and then go from there. The thing I was reading a little into this, and I saw with the Washington Post. They say that the devaluation of the playoff, if you will, devaluing the playoff, which it's not very devalued. I'll explain that in a second. But Mark Mask of the Washington Post says devaluation of playoff could be offset by the increase in revenue. But the interesting thing about that is that 14 teams in the NFL playoffs is 43.7% of the teams in the playoffs. That's still behind the NBA and the NHL, who have 53.3% of their league in their playoffs. So it's not really much of an increase. And the other interesting thing about it is that in the past 11 years, they went back and did the research where they would add a 7 team in each conference. They never would have a losing record. While the division champion would have a losing record, obviously, because we saw that back in 2010. But if you had an extra seed, it would 16 teams were at 9-7, 6 teams are at 8-8. So it's not like you're really devaluing it much, and it doesn't. And I didn't write down the exact number, but adding a 14th team doesn't change any probability of winning or losing the Super Bowl. It remains virtually the same. So you add an extra team. You may get a season where you have a 7 seed that goes nuts and goes on a run, but it's very, very unlikely to happen.
I honestly think that unless they're going to go drastic BCS standings in the regular season or division winners, wild card teams, and then BCS it that way. With those winners, I
think their best bet, and we'll get your thought in a second, Prez. I think the best bet, my vote would be 14 teams. The one team gets the bye, the 1 seed in each conference gets the bye, and you don't guarantee a home playoff game to the division winner. You earn it, because that's another thing too that would,
I like the idea of
that would spruce up the later in the season, because I'll watch the Broncos game on Monday, and I pay attention to the Patriots games, and same in the NFC. I pay attention to the important games because I want to see who's going to have home field. Because like we've discussed before in a podcast and in weeks prior, if we think if the playoffs go through Seattle, the Seahawks are going to go to the Super Bowl. If the playoffs go through New England's in the Super Bowl, or Denver, they'll be tough to beat in Denver in January. That's a big deal. Home field advantage late in the playoffs is a huge, huge deal. So why I warmed up to the idea of Prez wanting to get rid of the home game guaranteed.
Yeah, I think just the one team having home field advantage, it wouldn't really work. I think you'd have to at least give 2, like the top 2 teams, home field advantage.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, it would be the same thing as now. It's just that you wouldn't say, okay, Atlanta or Carolina, you were really bad in the regular season, but you made it, so here you go. Yeah,
that can't happen. To me, that's spitting in the face of teams that have a better record who are wild cards. Like the Packers. The Packers are going to be a wild card this year. But yet
they'll probably wax another team
right
in the wild card round.
Exactly. But Carolina or Atlanta is going to have home field advantage, and that's just silly.
Now on a completely different topic. I know we're talking about the playoffs here, but and this is something that I wanted your guys' take on. The NFL has a method of the losing teams pretty much tanking once they realize they're terrible to get that first overall pick. What are your guys' thoughts on that particular situation? On like how the NBA with their draft lottery, things like that. I mean, do you think that the same way playoff teams, that have lesser records shouldn't have home games, right? Do you think that the teams that intentionally tank it just to get that number 1 pick should not get that number 1 pick because essentially they're putting out a crappy product, intentionally screwing the fans that would pay to see them play the game? What are your thoughts on that? Because I have a vision on how I would run like the NBA, for example. But I'll get into that after.
I don't know if you really see that in the NFL like you do other sports, though.
It's hard. It's a lot harder in the NFL.
Yeah, I think. I mean, if you look at the crappy teams that are going on this year, the Raiders just beat the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
If you're really going to tank it, you lose to the Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
So you don't really see that.
I see that, and I raise you the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
they're just a bad football team.
And, and a few years ago, I will raise you the Indianapolis Colts. When they lost Peyton Manning, granted, it's Peyton Manning, especially during the regular season, but come on.
I think they saw an opportunity.
Exactly. I think that...
But I don't think that happens as much as like in hockey, for instance. You've got the Buffalo Sabres who I mean, they're doing a lot better lately, but you have they almost purposely set up a lackluster team
just
to try to get Connor McDavid or Jack Eichel. Or you look in the NBA, what the 76ers are doing, that I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah. And here's how I would handle the NBA if I were the commissioner, which, you know, Adam Silver, you should, if you're listening, you should consider this. You have what is it? Refresh my. I've been drinking all night, so
fine.
How is it in the playoffs? It's 8 in each conference, right? 8 in each conference.
Yes.
8 in each conference make the playoffs. So 16 teams make the playoffs, and then pretty much you're the 76ers. You play like them, you're going to get the lottery ball or whatever the hell they do there.
But that's that's
weird. My take is if I were the NBA commissioner, I would make it. I stole this from Mike Greenberg because he made a very valid point. Mike and Mike a few years ago when I heard this. You give the first draft pick to the 9th team.
And
or the 17th team.
That's
whatever.
that's like what Perez was saying with the if you win the division, you can't make the playoffs if you have a bad record. I mean, it sounds like a good idea on paper, but there's almost no possible way that you could successfully make that happen. I mean, we've even seen with the draft.
Maybe in the NFL you might not be able to, but in the NBA you absolutely could, and it would create competition, at least making something at the end of the season worth fighting for.
I think
you're not going to be in the playoffs.
Unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because sometimes it doesn't work out that way, but I think the NBA has a good idea with what they're doing in terms of the draft lottery, but you can kind of, I mean, I hate to say, I don't want to sit here and sound like a complete dipshit and say the NBA is rigged or whatever, but you can kind of see the writing on the wall when the Cavaliers won the NBA draft lottery 2 years in a row, and then because they LeBron was pushed to Miami by it seemed like he was pushed there, go win a championship, come back to Cleveland. It just seems it felt too weird.
I don't think LeBron was pushed there at all.
The whole situation still feels very weird.
I don't think LeBron was pushed there.
That's not what I'm trying to get at. I'm just saying and then you look back at Cleveland gets the first overall pick 2 years in a row when they had a 4% chance or something like that. It's just
LeBron met with Dwayne Wade in the offseason. Like, they colluded together. That was very much collusion, which is, by the way, is against the NBA rules.
It was a situation where either Bosh and Wade could have gone to Toronto or Cleveland, respectively.
Exactly. And they decided to go to South Beach.
Exactly.
It's almost
Where
like
would you rather play during the winter? South Beach, Cleveland, or Toronto?
Plus no tax in South Beach. I mean, it's good money.
So they colluded together.
What I'm trying to say is in the NBA with the draft lottery, with the 76ers openly tanking, and they're not afraid to admit it.
No, they've won 4 games.
It's kind of you're washing the dirty with the dirty. Like, you've got teams colluding against other teams colluding together. We're going to make this happen because it's the best for the NBA business, and then we're going to make this happen. We're going to tank purposely because we want to get the best players, the only way to win. I mean, if anything, the 76ers have the right idea. You can't get high-end free agents to come to Philadelphia. What's the best way to do it? Lose as many games as you possibly can and get the best athletes out of college ranks and go for it.
Well, not to channel my inner Stephen A. Smith here, but I mean, fans should be outraged with that if that's the deal. I mean, why would a fan pay money
if
spend
a fan
their money, their hard-earned money on a ticket, no matter regardless of price? Why would they spend money on a ticket? Spend money on concessions. Buy your kid a jersey. Buy yourself one.
The best way to make that statement is to stop going to the game, stop buying the jerseys, stop watching.
Precisely what I and again, channeling my inner Stephen A. Smith here, what I encouraged Jets fans to do all year this year. I encouraged it on my Twitter.
Like when you see the Jets, and I know and I apologize, we're bouncing around, but it's a good topic because it's seriously sports wide. This happens in every sport, and you see it happen all the time.
Are we gonna talk about the Jets?
We can if you want to.
Let's go to the commercial real quick because we've been running pretty long here.
That's fine. Let's go to commercial. We'll be back.
Do you enjoy listening to Better Live Than Dead, but you're not always by your laptop to hear it on GearNetwork.com? Not to worry, we've got you covered. Better Live Than Dead and all other Gear Network podcasts can now be heard on iHeartRadio, iTunes, in the Zune Marketplace, on SoundCloud, Spreaker, Stitcher Radio, and on TuneIn Radio. So make sure you get one of the aforementioned apps to stay up to date with the latest Gear Network podcasts.
A successful product does not become a successful product on its own. Look at the Gear Radio Network, for example. We're a prime example. We had a lot of help getting here, and we can help you get where you want to go too. Advertising rates are very low to start off here on the Gear Radio Network. Visit us at gearnetwork.com. Click on the contact link to send us an email, and we can work out the details. Again, advertise your product across all of the forums at a low, low rate here on the Gear Radio Network.
Back here for the final segment of the extended Better Live Than Dead podcast. It's been a lot of fun. This is what happens. We always sit down and we say it's not going to be that long, and then we just...
But this is different, though, because we're actually in the Gear Network studios, and we have all
not even
the Gear
not
personalities.
even Gear Network studios. We're at the Gear Network headquarters.
Right, that too. But we have all of the Gear Network personalities here. You know, Dawn's back.
Yes, she is. Welcome
Hi,
back.
Dawn.
Well, I've been back for a while.
We just haven't not interested her enough to
we haven't
chime
interested.
in. Yeah.
See, you know, Get Ready America is, and this is like the difference, you know, and I like this because it's variety, all around, widespread variety. You know, we got the sports talk here, and then we got the shenanigans on the other show, and then we've got like senseless bullshit on the JC Money.
And
show.
I've been trying to bring in some of the shenanigans because I like with the story time with
know.
Perez. I'm trying to.
Here we go with that word again.
I know, but I love it. See, there it is. A couple weeks ago on Get Ready America, I dropped the word shenanigans.
Hey Farva, what's that place you like to eat? What's that, shenanigans?
I dropped shenanigans on there, and she was like, "Why would you use shenanigans?" I'm like, "Why not?" You know,
It's a ridiculous word.
It's terrible, but it's awesome.
It is
But
a ridiculous
I just think of
word.
Super Troopers whenever someone says that.
Yes, but you know, talking about the variety here. Knock on wood. This is a wooden table that everything is on here. Knock on wood. Sooner rather than later, we might get another podcast joining the network, right, Lewis?
Yes, look for Beyond the Smoke with Mr. Perez coming soon, where I'll be discussing anything cigar related, high
We can
life
find it
related.
maybe-
Not high as in smoking weed. I don't care about that. I'm talking about cigars and you know some of the higher end aspects of life. So
You could probably find some human interest stories.
Can I ask something with Beyond the Smoke?
yes,
Being that
we'll talk about other things other than cigars too.
being that I would be the executive
Asian
producer.
women.
Would the executive producer get a free stick?
Probably not.
And
No, here's
what about special guests?
Well, hold on a second. Here's the plan. I'll just the part of the plan with Beyond the Smoke will be I'm going to get when we're rating the cigar, when we're discussing a cigar. The plan is to have 4 or 5 people sitting around the table, and we're gonna clip a cigar. We're gonna light a cigar. We're gonna talk about that cigar. But while we're doing that, we're gonna have normal conversation. We're going to discuss things that are going on in the world. We're going to discuss cigar related news. There's some big things going on in that particular arena in life, and basically my plans are to have a core group of individuals that will sit down and discuss the cigars. And what I'm thinking is we'll put in maybe $5-10 every month or maybe a week, and I'll go buy 5 cigars. And then those will be the cigars that we discuss.
I like that.
good
I
idea.
like that.
The reason I want to do that is because there are a lot of times when I look at a cigar rating site or I'll look at cigar magazines who rate cigars, And in order to get your cigar rated in these magazines, you have to advertise with that magazine. So let's say I'm charging you $10,000 for a full-page ad in my magazine, and you send me cigars to rate. I know that you're contributing to my magazine. Why am I going to give you a bad rating?
Right.
So what we're going to do is we're going to be unfiltered. We're going to be uncensored. If you got a crappy cigar, we're going to let you know you got a crappy cigar.
Hence what I say with Gear Network, and not to tie in, shameless plug here with gearnetwork.com/Amazon, but when I say that, shopping through our affiliates helps support us, helps keeps us free, clear, and independent. We are an independent internet-based radio company.
Everything at this table has been purchased out of our pockets.
It's right, exactly, and it's that forum that will allow us to give you a unbiased rating. On whatever.
So when I say the cigars were provided by, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna say us. Now listen, there are certain cigar companies out there who want to send me cigars for us to rate. I got no problem with that. I'll mention you during the podcast. I'll thank you during the podcast. But if you send me a crappy stick, I'm going to let you know you sent me a crappy stick. Now, with that being said, a lot of times, taste of cigars is very subjective. I may think a cigar is horrible. You may think it's great. And that will be a cool thing. Because we'll discuss that. And one of the other things we're going to do eventually as we grow with Beyond the Smoke is the website that I want to create. We're going to have the bloggers ratings, so our ratings, and then we're going to open it up to the public. So you'll see what we rate a cigar. And then we'll keep a running tally of what everyone else rates the same cigar. So you'll be able to log on and tell us why you thought the cigar was what it was. And it might be drastically different than what we find.
All right.
So I think the format will be fun. I think it'll be a good time. Another thing I'm going to try to do is actually video it also. So we can also load it up to YouTube. So you can see us sitting around and making fools of ourselves while we're chatting. So, hey, you know what?
Well, I do like it.
A lot of people that want to look at me.
I like it.
Katy Perry. Hi, Katy Perry.
Oh yeah, she sure does.
Well, I have.
We're trying to take it serious.
I do have all the necessary equipment to make that happen as well. I say I do. Gear Network has all that necessary equipment to make it happen as well. Yeah, it's all whatever.
I was gonna say, I like that Perez has a plan and is ready to. I mean, he's only been waiting for
a while.
How long?
Don't say he was been waiting because
I
was ready to roll it out in the summertime. I even had a commercial playing on the old Talking Wrestling podcast.
No, it's just
Beyond the Smoke coming this summer, and the goddamn thing never happened.
It just is tough because sometimes things do take time to come together. We've learned that.
Yes,
and it's hard. It's hard to have to be patient with this stuff because we control everything that we put out there, but we have to be patient.
Absolutely. I mean, realistically, and I'll use Get Ready America as an example. I mean, it took me 23 weeks of just talking wrestling to realize, hey, you know what? Talking wrestling is cool, but I got a lot more I want to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to sit down and
with Dawn being being on the podcast, bringing a completely different element. If I were to bring her on a talking wrestling, she'd be like, "Yeah, wrestling sucks."
Yeah.
Oh, I have all kinds of stuff I can talk
but it's one dimensional.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas Get Ready America is a variety thing. You know what I mean? And it's just
we're going to be discussing. We're not going to. We'll be discussing cigars, but we're going to be discussing cognac. We'll be discussing bourbon. We'll be discussing rum. We'll be discussing cigar accessories.
Dude, I want in. That sounds awesome.
We're going to be discussing the whole gambit of things when it comes to your.
There goes the classic Dawn look. She heard the word.
What? Word?
What's the word, Don?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
He just said a whole gambit of things. Yeah.
What? What's wrong with that word?
It's her gimmick, Lewis.
You've got to listen to Get Ready America.
Lewis, I can tell you right now, he has probably not listened to one episode of Get Ready America.
One.
Which one?
I don't remember. But I remember listening to it.
Okay.
So
carry on, Ryan. I'm sorry.
I want to ask you, how are we doing on time in terms of the podcast?
I own the network. We can do.
Well, no, I'm asking you because I just want to. I want to get.
I own the network.
She said we're way over. We don't really have a way over.
No.
Have you listened to our podcast?
Wait,
there have been podcasts. Well,
at least you listen to it.
Thanks for listening. I was going to say, because I was going to try to ask you, because I know you want to talk about the Jets, but the thing I was wondering is, should we wait until everything happens with the Jets so we know who gets fired, who's going where, what's happening, so that I can get your absolutely 100% because you don't. I mean, I know we know Rex Ryan's going to get fired. We know the GM may possibly get fired.
He already cleared out his office.
But what if? Yeah, but what if you sit here and rant about, well, Rex Ryan, this, and that, or John Isaac, this, and that, and then nothing happens, or something different happens. I want to get. I would love to hear what you have to say now, because I know you. I can just tell whenever I mention the Jets, you get this look on your face, and it's the look every disheveled, mad, pent up sports fan gets when their team is just. You see the truck coming at you in the wrong lane, and your team just does nothing to get out of the way.
Okay, I mean, listen, and this is a lifelong Jets fan here. Okay, I grew up watching the Jets. My father was a Jets fan. Shit happened with him in the personal life. He kind of took off, but I still kept that. So that's why, I'm very attached to my team. Now, for the majority of my life, they've been playoff team, bad season, playoff team, bad season. Kind of like a roller coaster ride, you know what I'm saying? There's only, I think, maybe one. There's one definite time I know, and that was, I want to say 1995 under Al Groh, where they finished 1-15 and got Keyshawn Johnson, first overall pick. That season was like terrible, but not so much terrible for a 14-year-old kid.
It was terrible.
Yeah, it was terrible because Lewis at that point was like 30, but you're old. But in any event, here he is. He's leaning in.
What's your point?
I don't know. I got nothing, man. I'm sorry.
I'm still on her, giving us a funny look when I said the whole gamut of things.
Yeah. Listen. You need to listen to more than one Get Ready America, because she gets on me about everything, from the music to
yeah. John will be seriously. John will be like halfway through discussion, and he'll say a word, and Dawn's like, "Nope, we're done. Nope."
He throws in the goddamn towel. This season,
it's a gimmick.
This season, kind of like you saying hi to Katy Perry, or talking about wanting to have relations with pretty much everything with a vagina, except for Shay.
I don't know if that's necessary.
But yeah,
that's a shoot. That's
I
a shoot
broke my
right there.
own fucking rule there.
That's a shoot right there.
But there we go.
All this cursing is just making more work for me.
Yes, I know. Listen, I got a whole goddamn hour and a half that I got to do with the All In podcast that I got to.
Mind you, listeners, right now as we speak in real life time, it's 12:17 on Sunday morning. So we are in for some work. We've been talking since I think a little after 9.
Listen, I'm doing this shit. I'm going to edit this shit when I am watching football tomorrow.
I would not want it any other way. I love this. This is so much fun.
Did you ever change that girl's Facebook profile?
No.
She's so mad right now.
She's going to be really upset.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is how you tie multiple podcasts into one.
Now, I know.
The complexity of changing.
I was going to say, I know she won't listen to this, so I will just say this. I don't
She
understand.
said complexity, I'm done.
I don't understand. I don't understand how one cannot change a Facebook photo, but that's just me.
Like Dawn said, it's too complex. Is that how you pronounce that?
Well, I said complexity.
I know.
But for those that can't quite get that out, we can go with complex.
I got to fart. Anyways, back to the Jets. Because
Speaking of having a fart,
this is a sports show, right? Or something.
Allegedly.
Sometimes.
Or something, as the Mexicans would say. I'm not racist.
I am.
But this season has been the goddamn worst season I
love all races.
I was going to just say, how could you be racist when you like every race?
Well, to see
No, he likes every race that's a female.
John, I wonder if we can get a conversation where I'm talking to you and then they're talking to you at the same time.
Every race has their redeeming quality.
Probably figure this out.
And that redeeming quality
no, seriously,
is the female population.
We book your computer
look at when we stop talking, we'll say one thing and then we stop talking and they say one thing and then we just...
I think that's kind of happening right now.
It is.
It's kind of amazing.
I'm having trouble putting this table back together.
How's it going, Don?
Hey.
All right.
You don't have to put it...
Basically, the Jets, they suck this year, and I'm pissed.
Yeah, it's not broken.
Dude, just slide that up. There you go.
That
was the complexity of that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Wolf.
A tray table.
That was more complex to change the
Ryan
Facebook
Wolf,
profile
ladies
page.
and gentlemen, just closed a table tray.
A picture.
I don't want to break because my luck is first time I'm here hanging out and I'll close the thing and I'll snap it in half and be like, oh.
You know what we should do?
What should we do?
Next time on our show, we should go over how to change our Facebook profile picture because apparently it's a difficult task and I never realized.
It is.
So
I didn't realize it was that tough either.
The best part is I've showed her before on her phone. Like I pull out she hands me her phone. I go watch this. You click the Facebook button. You go to her profile. Click that little picture. Hit upload. Click your picture. Hit OK. It's there. She goes, how did you do that?
Okay.
Hold on a second.
Well, here's what we'll do.
I just want to point something out real quick.
Mind you, let me just say this really quick before you go. I'm sorry, but
all right, go ahead.
This is the same girl who one day we sat down, a group of us, and we watched Dallas Buyers Club. She didn't say a word the entire movie.
You watched Dallas Buyers Club?
She watched the movie. And when the movie was over, she just, straight face, turns and looks at me and goes, I don't get it.
Okay. Well,
I'm like, are you fucking kidding me right now? You just watched the entire movie, did not say a word. Not like, what's that? Why is that happening? What's wrong with him? Why does he look like a damn twig? No. We watched the whole movie and you go, I don't get it. I'm like, get the f*** out of here.
Next week on Storytime with Perez, I'll tell you a story about a movie I took a girl to that was similar to that. But I
have a feeling it's going to wind up with him doing something.
No, dude, listen, I got 3 or 4 stories with this one. It was interesting to say the least.
Hey, by the way, before I forget, I want to mention this to finish off our playoff thing, which is
playoffs.
I was going to say Don wanted to record while we're recording.
Well, we can.
We record a video
when we're done. When we're done, we can record. We'll put it up on the Gear Network Facebook. Cheap plug. GearNetwork.com.
Right, that's what I'm thinking.
Facebook.com. Whatever. Roger Goodell said, and this is an exact quote: "We don't like the idea of watering down the playoffs with other teams, which it's not even watered down, as mentioned before. They are nowhere near being watered down." But then at the 2014 spring meeting, says, "quote I do believe expanded playoffs will be voted on." So Roger Goodell doesn't know what the hell's going on. Shockingly,
I think he's proved that
ready.
this season.
I'm so ready for baseball,
dude. I'm so ready. I actually, you know what? Real quick, I'm just gonna put this out there. You obviously all know I'm a Red Sox fan. We mentioned it in the podcast a ton. Mentioned it tonight. I cannot tell you how good it felt to walk through Wegmans a couple days ago with all my Red Sox gear on and just feel the eyeballs burning holes through me because people were staring.
Finally looking at you?
Staring holes through me. Yeah, good one, Perez. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Perez.
No problem.
Do you want to record, Don? Do you want to record a video of how to change the profile picture?
Do you want to do it on the podcast?
Well,
or
like
the
doing
podcast?
it on the podcast. So we're recording the podcast.
Is this? I have a question. Is this?
That sounds so fun, John.
Okay, great. Here we go. Get ready.
Difficult.
Get ready, America. And go.
Is this better live than dead still, or is this?
You're being
once
recorded.
again, it's a
Get Ready, America.
Yeah, it's a.
Hey, look. This is behind the scenes.
It's a combination of the both.
I already took a video
want them
to
on your
post on
Facebook.
Instagram.
But I'd like to
just tell them how to do it.
Now that we're kind of away from the sports talk, I would like to point out that he is doing this for one of his best friends. He says, who happens to also be his ex-girlfriend.
It was a high school thing.
So,
man. It's bad. It's bad news.
Well, all I know is that you're still like talking with her and doing things for her. So it seems to me that she might still have you by the short curlies, bruh.
No.
So.
Yeah, especially when she asked him to change the profile
right.
picture, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll get to it." And she was like, "Well, how long?"
Right. She offered.
Exactly.
She did offer to pay me for
like,
it.
you say how long to me, I'm gonna be like, "Listen, heifer, I'll call you next week."
Even do it.
Right.
I did tell her. No, I did say I was going to when I had time.
It's like now an hour later.
Being the owner of the network,
listen.
I'm going to say this. Being the owner of the network, this is the Get Ready America portion of Better Live Than Dead
Fair
this
enough.
week.
The thing,
Don, please show us how to change your profile
the
picture.
problem I have, Perez, I'll talk to you about this. The problem I have is I'm too nice.
Okay.
So,
if you hang out with me more, I can correct you of that.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
I could definitely.
I'm certainly adopting that you attitude that you certainly you don't always have.
You change. You pick your picture,
but you use it at the right time.
Because I do have it quite often.
I just like to be nice and help my friends out because some of my friends aren't as bright as my other friends are.
Apparently.
There it is. Woo! It took all of 15
seconds. Like 4 steps.
To do it.
So difficult. Ryan, I need you to change my picture for me. Ryan.
And ladies and gentlemen, that
easier way
is how you change a profile picture and talk a whole bunch of
at the same time.
Yeah,
at the
you
same
can
time.
also just put upload the picture to Facebook,
Yes.
click on it,
Right.
and select
Change it to your profile
Exactly.
make
photo.
profile
Yes.
picture.
Hey, listen, if you ever happen to listen to this podcast and you realize that we were talking about you, you're a bloody freaking idiot. Love you. Hi, Katy Perry.
I got a fart.
Well, it's just nothing different than everything we've ever said.
I'm uploading that to Facebook.
We're going
This girl's gonna hate Ryan.
Ryan, we didn't mean to get you in trouble.
Believe me, if she hadn't hated me from the amount of time we dated in high school, I don't think she would hate me now.
Ryan,
You dated someone for 5 years in high school?
As far as you and her
Why were you in high school for 5 years?
From when I was, well, no, I was out of high school after.
As far as you and
Okay.
her are concerned, it's not all about the nookie, man.
No.
You can't. Don't play.
You know
that.
what?
And
Listen, man.
well, here's the deal. The moral of that story is just don't ever put it in crazy.
You know what's funny is I briefly
Hold on a
changed my
second.
profile.
Time out. Bruh, listen, you can say don't ever put it in crazy, but I got some news for you. If you're banging a chick, you're putting it in crazy. Every female on this planet is bloody freaking crazy. It just depends upon the severity of the craziness. Now, conversely, hold on a second, Dawn. Before you say anything, every single dude on the planet is a fucking dick.
Right, now I was only going to say, the only thing I was going to say is that the severity of how crazy that bitch is generally based solely on how much of a dick that guy is.
Exactly.
vice versa.
And vice versa.
not
No, vice
No,
versa.
yeah, vice versa.
No.
Vice
It goes
versa.
both ways.
It does go both ways.
Guys will definitely cheat and treat women like shit that we're
Like
not
you women don't
crazy
do that.
going into. I've never cheated.
Like you women don't do that.
Never.
Yeah, maybe you haven't, but I know plenty of
Oh,
women who
okay,
have.
but
So,
how many
dudes,
guys do you know that haven't?
Actually, I know a couple.
A couple.
Yeah,
As
not me.
a whole two.
Not me. I was, when I was younger, I cheated quite a bit.
Dawn, do you have an Instagram account? I'm putting a video up on Instagram right now.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Probably, but
She does have an Instagram account.
Never mind.
John's not allowed on it.
I'm not allowed on it. And
Well, never mind then.
she's not allowed on mine, goddammit.
Sorry. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. I'm just trying to
I don't
expand.
know what my
I'm expanding the
Instagram is.
brand of the Gear Network. That's
I got a fart.
And women, if you got a problem with me saying that, that's too bad. That's the truth.
But listen to his
guys.
But,
he's
but
a,
listen to Beyond the Smoke.
ladies. He's a teddy
Yeah,
bear.
well, listen to me on the smoke.
He's a teddy bear.
No,
He's not a mean guy. He's not a mean guy. I'll vouch for him.
Anyways, back to what the initial subject. Fuck the Jets.
Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you what right now, seriously. And this is something we are good at. We can go from A to Z and back to A and it makes sense out of it. I don't know how.
No, because you know what? A was talking about shoving shit up your freaking holes.
I need your friend to show me how to find my Instagram name on Instagram.
I'll tell you what, on the surface, Dawn does not seem like one that would talk a lot of shit, but she certainly
Oh,
can
God.
don't
She's
know
just as big a
Dawn
ball
very
buster as any
well.
one of us.
Yeah, you don't know her
it's
very
amazing.
well.
It's amazing. I do
No,
enjoy
the
it.
first time she busted my balls, I thought I was ready to go because I'm like what? Because at first she was like, I don't want to say she was timid, but she was kind of like, wasn't sure what boundaries to cross and everything. And then the one day she just finally crossed the boundary, and I'm like, what the f*** did you just say?
It's almost
No,
like
don't.
it's almost like with Dawn. It's almost like she puts up like a facade where she's like, "I'm cool,
Don't
I'm cool
kid.
with it, I'm cool with it," and then all of a sudden, the first time you do something, she's to the throat.
Don't get her.
like, what
Right, exactly.
just happened?
See, don't get her and my wife together because Dawn's pretty out with it. Like she'll be real sarcastic with you, but then my wife will throw these little one-liners that are just like the grenade to blow and everything up. Like she pulls the pin, my wife's one-liners and the grenade it explodes.
Well, on the opposite side of that, it's kind of like me and Perez here.
right.
It's pretty much, but any one of us can pull the freaking pin, and any one of
Yeah.
us can throw the goddamn thing.
That's a true story.
At any given
I
moment.
did find my Instagram though quicker than that girl probably set her profile.
She still hasn't set a profile.
She
picture.
hasn't set a profile picture yet. Maybe you
You
should
can't change it if she doesn't send you the pic.
Maybe she does that because she just wants to send him pics.
What kind of picture you getting, right?
I have seen her naked a lot.
Well, you did date her.
Well, I would hope so. 5 years.
He did it all for
Right.
the nookie.
No
The
one
what?
cares.
The
The
nookie.
nookie.
The what? So you can take that nookie and stick it up your... Okay.
We got Limp Bizkit over here.
5 years. He's like, yeah, I've seen her naked a couple times.
Fred Durst is a
No,
dick.
She must like to do it in the dark.
this is no. No.
Ryan, turn off the light.
One of those types.
No, Ryan, don't take your clothes off. Turn off the light. Turn off the light, Ryan.
Please keep your socks on.
We can't do it. It's too late outside.
What the f*** has this podcast become, Ryan?
It's daytime. We
What
can't do
episode
it
number
yet.
is this?
69 apparently.
22.
Sports
I like 69.
Oh, God. All right.
Do you want to wrap this one up?
I think we should probably just take it
yeah.
home.
Yeah,
Yeah, because, we keep going in this direction. I got a lot I can say.
yeah.
I think just save that for the next All-In podcast.
Dawn almost just dumped her beer on the floor. Empty beer, but still nonetheless a beer.
Oh, for the love of Christ.
I want
the
to say
hell?
thank you to Dawn, thank you to John, thanks
Jesus
Perez.
Thank you, Ryan.
Hey, man. Ryan, I'm intentionally swearing. I'm intentionally swearing now just so that way you have to edit all this shit. You have to just hit the goddamn censor button.
Just
You don't have to
cut
censor
out that
goddamn.
It's gonna kind of
You don't have to censor
no.
goddamn.
It's
though.
TV rules. I go by
That's
TV
TV
rules.
All right.
Like you can't say you can't say but you can say bitch.
Ass.
You can say ass. You can say goddamn. You can say hell. Obviously,
I say Jesus Christ.
you can say Jesus Christ too if you want to.
Yeah.
What else can't you say?
I don't know. When I leave here, I will be enjoying a CAO rabbit reindeer on my way home.
Listen, you.
The angel of the podcast over here.
I've been holding it all night like I'm ready to smoke it.
I know. I'm ready to smoke a fucking cigar too. But you only brought one. Douche.
Well, it's been a lot of fun. This has been a lot of fun.
Okay.
I look forward to doing it again sometime soon. Perez and I will be back next week, hopefully same time.
Yes.
Not same
channel.
time, because we're not going to be at 12 in the morning.
Probably not, but we'll be back at the same.
Next Saturday
general
morning,
time when we upload the video.
more sports. We'll be able to talk
Not
to playoffs.
the podcast.
Be able to talk to playoffs.
That was my bad.
We have completely fucking
What
lost
did you? Wait,
it,
what did
man.
you? I just missed
This
what he
is what
said.
happens when you get the four of us together
What
at
the fuck
12 in
did
the
you just
morning.
say?
I said not the same time when we upload the video, and then I corrected myself, not the video, the podcast. So,
No, but I recorded.
unless of course your girl, that your best friend sends you a video, you want to upload that, feel free. You can change your profile pic.
You
at
want
the
me to
same
do my
time.
standard close,
can't
the
even
whole
change
this
your
is the
profile
copyrighted
picture.
thing?
Think she'll be able to
Oh,
video?
yeah, fine.
No, probably
That's
not.
my gimmick.
I thought about standard gimmick, but I haven't.
You're like, why are you calling me again? Oh, I thought that was the video button.
Here's a good closing. I'm just going to copy John. Don't steal our shit. Perez is very handy with a knife, and we will find you.
Yes, I am.
Oh, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and do it. This is a copyrighted podcast of the Gear Radio Network, and any rebroadcast or reproduction without the express written permission of the girl that can't fucking set her profile picture
It means I'll
is
shank you.
strictly freaking prohibited.
Thought you were going for the high Katy Perry.
By the way, John and Dawn
Bye,
have
Katy Perry.
John and Dawn have their finished. Perez, shall we? We are better live than dead.
You're not.
We will be back in the new year, 2015, right around the corner.
I can't believe it's 2015 already.
Happy
Jesus,
New
man.
Year.
Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you again for joining us. If you're still here with us, thanks. If you're not here with us, what is your fucking problem?
Adios.
Asshole.
Have a great evening.
Good night now.